All right. Here we are. We are live on Facebook. It's for my Wine About It Wednesday. Hey guys. So I made it. There's my suitcase in the back. I have made it to Goshen, Kentucky. As you guys have kind of been following, I did a couple of pop-up lives and we were in Wisconsin. I taught at Meg Dishler's and then Katie Hiller's. She runs her business out of Jean Dempsey's beautiful Wild Rose Farm. So I gave you guys a little tour the other day. It was pretty cold and there was a tiny bit of snow flurries. And today when I was leaving, it was like 32 degrees and I walked outside and I thought, oh, it's not that cold. And I thought this is exactly what Wisconsin does to you. You know, it's like 23 degrees and like wind chill, it feels like 13. So then when it's actually like literally still freezing at 32, you actually think it's kind of warm. But I added a new place, which is fun. I mean, that was actually the first time I had been to Meg's place. She's been a student for a very long time, and she's our trilogy rep in the Midwest. So I've been teaching her, and I've known her a long time. But it was the first time I was at her place, which was great. Saw a lot of familiar faces, a couple of new people. I'm a little bit behind on my most improved because there was a couple of really inspiring people that I met with some really cool horses. But the new place I went to was Equestrian Events in Maple Park, Illinois. And it was great to meet the owner, Paulina. She was a wonderful host and saw lots of nice horses. And it was really actually special because shout out to Sandy Stavropoulos, who like was one of like my big clients when I was in my 20s, and she trusted me with her wonderful mare Body, and we just had like the best time, training that horse. She came to me as like a fourth level horse with a trained in late change, and we finished her to Grand Prix, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful relationship. But I had never actually taught her an official lesson. So it was kind of went down in the history book. So that was really fun to teach Sandy. And then I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but the video Eric Olson made for us, well, I mean, I cried a little. And Lindsay Hardman, I appreciated your message of like, I'm not crying, you're crying. So we're really proud of that. And it was really special because it was basically right before Summer left to go retire as a broodmare. And she's, of course, the horse in the beginning of the video who I am petting. She was actually like laying down in the paddock, which is like she never, ever, ever has done that before. So it was kind of like a magical moment, and that was great. And then of course, she's the nose I'm kissing because she has the most beautiful nose and she's amazing. She settled in. I'll send some pictures on Team Tate TV. She's doing a great job. Klaus is keeping me completely informed and being so sweet. She's making new friends and she likes babies, so that's great. Um, Exciting news about the Academy. We are almost to 500 people, so we're so excited. Um, Tell your friends, buy it for your trainer for Christmas. I had a really great chat with Patrick King on his Patrick King horsemanship. I think it ended up to be almost like, I think over an hour and a half, but it was really fun to talk about what the Academy means to me and why we started it and how it feels good to help people with their horses at home. So trainers are finding it a helpful tool for their students. Students are buying it for their trainers for Christmas. So we're just so thrilled for the opportunity to be a part of your journeys. And we hope you join us. And this is launch week, so we're so excited. We're open till the 7th. So we hope you guys join us. You won't be disappointed, I promise. There's a new video every week. Clearly, I can talk about horses all the time. Yeah, then we got a couple of really cool, because it's launch week, we got a couple of really good interviews coming out. So be on the lookout for that every day on Team Tate. Some really special interviews with some really great people. I am at Laura Burkett's place for the next 3 days in Goshen, Kentucky. There is no snow. In the forecast, so that's great. And then I'm off to Knoxville, almost home. So I got 2 days with Teresa Schaefer, who was kind of the star of the video. So guys, I hope you check that out. And we have another special guest tonight. So Enviro Equine, I think I met Angela. She's not technically our special guest tonight, but I met Angela probably like 6 years ago at least, in Wellington. And she, had this like starter up company, and she's extremely smart and kind of like a scientist mind. And she had these wonderful supplements. And so, she's like, oh, would you be interested? And so I put my horses on it, and Enviro Equine has become like a total staple in our feed room. Pretty much almost every horse gets the electro balance and the everyday balance because it's wonderful vitamins. It's also got some really cool clay that really allows to kind of take what doesn't belong in the stomach. It kind of like helps cleanse it. It's wonderful. So basically all the horses in the barn are on that. And she also got this. We had, I think, one horse on it, but she's got hemp bedding. So if you guys are interested in trying that, and you have a horse that has allergies, that stuff is amazing, and Angela's amazing. And you can check everything out at enviroequine.com. And because you guys are awesome and you guys tune in all the time, we're going to give you a 15% off discount, and the code will show up below in the comments. So it's Tate TV 15. So that will allow you guys to get a 15% off on anything at Enviro Equine. So without any ado, I am going to introduce Ciara Watt, who is going to give us a little discussion and talk about the horse's lung health. And my sponsor, Enviro Equine, is the U.S. distributor for the Plus Vital, and that is a leading global equine science company. So Ciara is with us tonight, and she's going to give us a little insight into, lung health and keeping your horses healthy. So I want to welcome Ciara.
Hi, everybody. I'm dialing in from Ireland, so it's very exciting to meet you all, and thank you so much for the opportunity. Just to mirror your comments regarding Enviro Equine, absolutely, they've been a wonderful partner. We've just launched with them earlier this year, and it's just a fantastic partnership because their kind of company ethos is very similar to us in terms of, trying to look at the welfare of horses and listening to clients in terms of what their needs are, and trying to tailor products that suit specific requirements that horses may have. So we're very excited to have a partnership in the US, and we hope to launch in Canada in 2021 as well. So it's been a very exciting journey since meeting Angela at a veterinary conference back in December, probably around this week last year. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, so I've got a presentation to run through. We're a very long established company, and I know Enviro Equine is quite new, so it's a very nice partnership whereby some of the products are known for a very long time, and then you have the innovative products like the hemp bedding that you mentioned. Yeah. So I'm going to run through just an overview of who we are, but also a couple of products that I think would be really interesting for dressage riders, but also just leisure riders and the serious competition rider as well. So I'm just going to take you through this. Hopefully it works. Can you all see that?
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, Great. Okay, super. So Plus Vital is the leading equine science company in Ireland. We've been in operation since 1975, so we're actually one of the first equine supplement companies to launch globally. There weren't too many nutritional companies in the equine space back in 1975. So we're proudly headquartered in Ireland. We're a team of 20 and we distribute to over 40 countries worldwide. We were in the US at some stage in the 80s, 90s, and then the partnership, basically the person retired, and there's been a gap there for some time. So we're very excited to be back, and a lot of people remember Plus Vital from that time, which is very nice. I get nice feedback from Angela and her team in that regard. We have a small range. It's not huge, but that's for a reason. I don't like to overcomplicate things. Our iconic balancers will be our best sellers, which I'll show you in a moment. And we're very proud to be able to say that we actually launched the world's first nutrigenomic product for horses, which links nutrition with the horse's genetic profile. And that's one of the products I'm going to take you through in a moment. We very much look at innovative products that are absolutely sound, they're backed with science, and they're very much for racing, breeding, competition, pretty much all equine sports. So just in terms of our global presence, you can see that we're down in Australia. You know, we're pretty much, you know, very strong in the Middle East, I would say. But Ireland is very important to us, and I know how much you love the Irish in the US. And we've got a lot of nice brand ambassadors that say a lot of positive things about us. Johnny Murta is one of our best brand ambassadors this year. This guy obviously was a very famous jockey. He would have ridden there in Kentucky and all around the US Breeders' Cup level. 5 times champion winning jockey in Ireland, but also he had 42 winners this season here in Ireland. Wow. An amazing feat, and he's pretty much wearing a Plus Vital jacket at every race day. He actually hangs his hat on the fact that his success is very much rooted in his nutritional program in conjunction with ourselves. David Marnan would be another very good trainer, runs horses in Dubai during the season there. So Jim Bulger would be another one. I don't know if any of you are very involved in racing, but Jim is in his 70s and he brings out a Group 1 winner every single year. He's also a 10% shareholder in Plus Vital, and he tests his horses genetically with that part of our business. So very much follows families and their genetic profile. So loves our Energy and Q10 product, obviously. We also look at, you know, the grassroots of show jumping and dressage as well to support those younger riders, and some of them have had great successes. Worth noting, Cathal Daniels is ranked world number 9 at the moment. He's actually just won a 4-star in Portugal again last week, and some of the products that I mentioned in a moment are very much, you know, always in that kind of level, in their feed room. They would be very focused on, you know, making sure the horses go out and perform week on week. And this year has been a very busy kind of season back to back following COVID. So some nice names there, some of you may recognize. So the Plus Vital range, as I mentioned, it's not huge. So everything is color coded. So if you're involved in racing, it's green. If it's sport, it's orange. You'll see the support range in purple seems to be our largest one. And that's very much looking at the products that suit specific requirements. People come to us all the time. My horse is healthy. I have it on your sports syrup or your racing syrup, which is a very nice balancer and all-round supplement for good health. But there's so many horses that have specific issues, and that purple range seems to be ever expanding. So today I'm going to speak to you about Bioflavodex, which is very good for supporting lung health, and the Energy and Q10 product, which falls under nutrigenomic. So in terms of the Bioflavodex, this product would be very, very widely used where latex is not available. So as you know, here in Europe, you cannot run horses on latex. And you have to think about, you know, a horse that may be a bleeder, may suffer from EIPH, or just has issues in general with the respiratory system. So we developed a product called Bioflavidex, which is very much based on the yeast base, like all our other products. So we look at getting the absorption rate at its maximum to make sure that all of the compounds used in our nutraceuticals are absorbed very, very quickly into the bloodstream. So a lot of people will come to us and say, gosh, it actually worked, because there's a lot of products on the market that go in one end and out the other, and people don't actually see the benefits. So the key features in the Bioflavidex would be, of course, its natural ingredients, but we've included several types of bioflavonoids, which come from all of your citruses, and hesperidin would be one of the key ingredients there that supports lung health. Vitamin K is excellent. Vitamin K is very good as well for pulmonary support and circulatory support. We use an organic form of selenium, which is excellent for mopping up free radicals, and polyphenols as well are excellent for inflammatory. So should the lung become inflamed, those polyphenols are really going to help support that. So the Bioflavidex comes in a 1.5 kg tub, and that's going to last one horse 30 days for anyone that wants to avail of the deal with EnviroEquine. So the high levels of the bioflavonoids and hesperidin kind of makes it stand out from some of the competitors. So they're there in your dosage at 10,000 milligrams per product, and that's actually much higher than most of the other products that are available on the market. A lot of the other ingredients there, like the polyphenols and the grapeseed extract, would be great for dealing with those free radicals that are produced as well. But it's all about supporting the capillaries to try and prevent a horse from bleeding, and also just to try and keep it you know, at its optimum level all of the time. So keeping that inflammatory situation under control. And, you know, there are horses that need to be kept on this as a maintenance type product. There's no point thinking this is a quick fix. Most of our products, you know, are very much maintenance that are going to work constantly in keeping that lung health healthy, but also supporting any inflammatory issues as they occur as well. So that's a really nice product to consider if you need a natural form of supporting lung health. I know EIPH is very prevalent, and sometimes, you know, other issues can be a factor in lung health as well, such as stabling conditions and poor forage. We're assuming that all of those conditions are correct. So it's really important that, you know, there's a lot of ventilation in stables, and, you know, that you're feeding the best forage that you can afford. And obviously feed comes into play as well, to making sure that it's really good quality. So this is an additional product that you add to your feed that's going to help. So that's Bioflavidex. The nutrigenomic product is a little bit more technical, so I apologize. I'll try and de-science it as best I can for anyone that might not be technically minded. But it's one of our standout products. We launched it in December 2017, and it was following 2 years of research in collaboration with 2 leading universities here in Ireland. We're very proud to be able to say that it has a genetic link, and even though Plus Vital was established in 1975, we're very forward thinking. So Plus Vital acquired a genetic company called Equinome in 2015, and Professor Emmeline Hill, who's one of the leading equine geneticists, she actually discovered the speed gene. I don't know if any of you have heard of the speed gene, but this will determine with over 90% accuracy the optimum race distance for a horse. So we're able to look at the DNA and actually establish whether or not a horse is a sprinter, or middle distance, or stayer. So that's the genetic link. So we tailored this product to suit stamina type horses. It does support every type of horse within that genetic profile, but the stamina type horses, which is identified as TT, actually benefit most from this particular product. So what's it contain? So the key ingredient is a microactive form of CoQ10. And what the product does is it delays fatigue within a horse's muscle, and it also reduces recovery time. And I'll explain that to you, how that works. So the speed gene test that we did identified those TT horses. So you'll see on the tub where it says speed gene type, just so you have the information. A CC is how the genetic coding looks when you actually analyze a horse's DNA. This mightn't be so interesting for dressage riders or sport horse riders. So we've kind of looked at what your dressage horse might be. For example, 60% of sport horses would be in the TT genetic profile. So that's good news. There's a good chance that your horse will be falling within that category. So the coenzyme Q10 ingredient, so you'll see that the powder when you actually open the tub is bright yellow, and that's to do with the fact that there's turmeric in there, which is a lovely anti-inflammatory. But coenzyme Q10 in its pure form is actually white, and CoQ10 is used by a lot of marathon runners, because if you have CoQ10 actually in your muscle, which everybody does, humans, horses alike, we all have a different levels. So the TT actually have a lower level. So CoQ10 plays a critical role in actually producing energy, and it produces energy from oxygen, or if you don't produce energy with oxygen, of course you produce lactic acid. That's the anaerobic respiration. So coenzyme Q10 is very important. We all needed to produce energy in the most efficient way. And it's really interesting that CoQ10 is actually in a lot of tissues and in lungs as well. So while I'm looking at energy levels today, that's very much because we've carried out a research on that, but it can absolutely have beneficial properties as well for supporting respiratory. So this is just showing where CoQ10 is actually, where you find it. So in the mitochondria, in the cell, you will find CoQ10, and you can see the electron transport chain and how CoQ10 actually moves that energy along to produce ATP, which is your energy. So that's just the kind of, you probably would remember this from your college days or whatever. So here's your aerobic energy, and you'll see there, if you move down through the aerobic respiration, you can produce 30 to 32 ATP, which is the maximum amount of energy you can produce through aerobic respiration. If you go right and follow the green, you'll see that you produce just 2 ATP as well as lactic acid. So what coenzyme Q10 does is it delays the transition to anaerobic respiration. So we want to produce as much energy as possible. It's worth noting, because we do supply a lot of dressage riders and event riders, that this does not cause a horse to be fizzy. It doesn't make them excitable. It just means that when they have to produce energy, they don't go flat. They actually can produce energy for longer. So it's a more effective way of producing the energy. CoQ10 is a very interesting compound out there at the moment. You'll see KER, I think, have a nano version. There's a few other versions available on the market, but we're very excited to that we have the most bioavailable form. It's a microactive version of CoQ10. It's not very bioavailable in its natural form. So we have managed to lock down supply for the most microactive bioavailable version, and that's scientifically proven. So this just shows the crystalline version and how it doesn't transport through the intestine very well, whereas the microactive there in the dark green, absolutely, and it actually disperses very nicely in a horse's stomach to ensure that the optimum amount of CoQ10 is actually absorbed. So here's the science. So on the left-hand side, you'll see three graphs, bar charts, and there in the black is your stamina type horse. That's your dressage horse and your sport horse. So they have a very low amount of naturally occurring coenzyme Q10 in the muscle. So what we did was we did a field trial, and we actually took muscle biopsies from a horse's hindquarters and analysed that in a lab environment to see what the actual analysis would be if we supplemented those horses over a period of 9 weeks. And the results were actually highly significant. First of all, not only were we able to identify which horses had the least naturally occurring level of coenzyme Q10, but we were able to actually bring the sprinters, the middle distance horses, and indeed the stamina type horses in the black to its optimum level after 9 weeks. So that was very significant. So the increase in that sport horse type, those TT horses, was actually 40%. So we can verify, scientifically proven, it's peer reviewed, it's published science, we could increase coenzyme Q10 by 40%. So highly significant. So what's that mean for your horse then? So if you have a situation where the CoQ10 levels in your horse is very low, they're going to tie up. They're going to feel very stiff after performing. You might have a lot of competitions back to back and they're not pulling out as well as they could be. So we have a bit of time behind us now since it's launched, and the feedback has actually been phenomenal in terms of, you know, energy when it's needed, particularly for show jumpers. You know, that last pole, we all have been there knocking that last pole when you're so close to winning a competition. This is the product that's going to give you that kind of vital edge, you know, digging deep when you need it. Beating a race, it's a marginal difference between first and second. I'm very excited to say that the Melbourne Cup winner in Australia last month, there's any amount of horses that have run on Energy and Q10 with significant results. So in terms of the ingredients, it's a 25-gram dose. There's a nice little scoop inside there. The key ingredient is glucose. That helps with the absorption rate. If you wanted to syringe this into a horse that was tricky, that didn't like anything additional added to the feed, you can do that as well. But it is extremely palatable. The level of CoQ10 is at 200 milligrams. There's also vitamin C, vitamin E, organic selenium, and rooibos and turmeric. And the main reason for the turmeric is a nice natural anti-inflammatory. It was kind of a buzz product that was out there at the time, so we decided it would be nice to include that within the product as well. So that's the overall key ingredient, and the CoQ10 being the main one, but some nice additional antioxidants in there as well. So the product, that one tub would last one horse for 1 month, but based on the science, I'd highly recommend, if anybody's going to try this, that they try the 8-week course, which would be 2 tubs. So what the product does is it plateaus in the muscle after 8 weeks. So it's very important to give the product a chance that you actually dispense 2 tubs to 1 horse over a 2-month period to really see this product take effect. And what I'd say is, for any of your viewers that are very, very busy, that find their horses do get a bit flat as the season goes on, it's very important to keep this. So the loading dose could be increased now if you're about to start into heavy competitions, and then you could just continue then at the 25-gram dose over the duration of the season. So just to recap, so the stamina type horses are the ones that produce less CoQ10. So the CoQ10 supplementation is going to produce energy more efficiently in the muscle. It's going to produce more aerobic metabolism, which is going to prevent lactic acid being produced. It's going to aid your recovery time. And obviously the antioxidants in there are really going to help with, reducing the amount of damage to any of the cell membranes. So I've only spoken about the energy side of things, but if you Google CoQ10, you will see a lot of additional benefits for this compound. But I'm only speaking about the science that we carried out within our company today. So if anybody has any questions, I would be delighted to answer them. Or they can also contact me. Our website is plusvital.com. My own name is Ciara Watt. I'm General Manager, and I would be delighted if anyone wants to reach out and ask any questions, or indeed if they'd like to actually download our published scientific papers as well for any vets that may be watching. It's actually a very interesting read to really understand that genetic link, but also to read about the compounds in which we use as well. So there's also some nice articles that are there in terms of lung health and how those bioflavonoids can really help within that other product that I spoke about earlier. So so if anyone has any questions, I'll leave it open to you.
I have some, because I was taking notes and I was staring. I hope no one was looking at my face during the presentation, because I was like, oh, and I took a couple screenshots, and then at one point it like kicked me off the page, you know. That was so interesting, and it's so great to meet you and hear about your wonderful company that you've been with, because that's what I always loved so much about Angela, was that it was so science-based, and that was, you know, she really put her time and energy into research, and it's so cool that she's found you guys who have done absolutely the same thing, and it makes you feel really, you know, like secure about feeding your horse something that is truly been tested and trials, and that was a pretty amazing trial that you were able to do, that so many horses really changed.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's really interesting as well. I didn't go into as much detail as I could have done, but when we took the muscle biopsies, we actually had to analyze those in a lab environment. So it was an in vivo and in vitro trial as well. So we were actually able to test the compounds within a lab environment, as well as actually being able to do it with those untrained horses. The reason why they were untrained, because actually coenzyme Q10 levels within a horse's muscle can change depending on exercise. So we wanted them to all be quite stationary and not have any kind of external factors that might interfere with the results. So yeah, it was a pretty amazing trial. I joined the company in 2017, so it was a really interesting time to be part of one of the world's first nutrigenomic products for horses, and then to roll that out globally. What's been really interesting is the feedback that we've had. So I've been to many events, and people have come to me and have told me their stories about, you know, obviously their results, being on the racetrack, but also you know, prepping for the Olympics, and they really feel that this product is really going to help them on their journey. So so yeah, and obviously to launch in the US was a massive deal, and it was a product that Angela very much put her arms around, because she loves science. There are not too many companies out there like Plus Vital that would have the investment backing behind us, but also to really feel that it's not just commercial. This has to be all about, you know, proving that a product actually works. So we're actually in the process of looking at our next nutrigenomic product. So hopefully that will launch in the US probably in 2022, where it does take some time to actually carry out this research.
Well, that's just, you know, it's really impressive, I have to say, you know, that it's like, you know, you really, I can feel the excellence, you know, through your talk, and even like we have got a new product too, but it's like we're waiting because we're gathering all the information, and that really makes it feel like it's really really top, really, you know, world class, you know. And I've already got 2 horses I think I want to try on it.
Great.
Because
yeah.
And a horse that a lot of my listeners know isn't in my stable anymore. He is with his owner, But I wish I would have had this product when he was still competing, because even, I mean, we kind of laughed about, that last jump in a jump off where everyone's holding their breath and it's like,
Yeah.
but for us in the dressage world, like that last center line has a lot of points in there,
Yes.
and those horses have to passage and piaffe, and
Yeah.
there's a lot that can go wrong. And
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you think
we
about the
joke.
hindquarters, and our
Yeah.
analysis was done in the hindquarters. I often watch, dressage, and I would have competed myself. And, you want a horse really underneath you all of the time. And you kind of want to be sitting and holding as opposed to keeping your leg on, like, I don't know what.
Yeah.
So this is actually really going to help, I think, that type of horse that does tire, just to try and keep him underneath
Yeah.
you. So yeah, I've had nice feedback on that as well.
Yeah.
For the event riders, obviously their horses are extremely fit. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And sometimes they can lose their mind in the dressage to the detriment
Right.
of the entire competition.
Yeah.
So it was lovely to hear that feedback that, it doesn't mess with their heads. It doesn't make them fizzy.
Yeah.
It definitely just does, support that energy production when it's needed. So because I know people think, oh God, energy, I don't need any more energy.
Right. Well, it's like there's either one or the other. Like for like dressage, we're like, we need energy, but then it's a little bit like short burst, kind of not fake energy, but like, we need to like give him an up, like something that's going to make him excited. And then the event riders want the total opposite of like, he needs to just go around the test, because I work with Allison Springer. She's a good friend and been a student for a long time. And like, she comes to Florida to work on her dressage and jumping. And so like in January, I have no problem sitting on those horses. But like as Rolex, or now it's Range Rover, when they start to get fit to show, I'm like, ooh, I mean, you're good. Like, they are fresh and fit, and it's amazing. But then it's like, be quiet. They're so fit, but then the dressage is so hard, and then you want to like take the energy down. And like this seems like the energy, I mean, because it's so science based, it really feels like the energy is from the right place. And like even with a dressage horse, you feel them really push that last center line, and then the next day they're just like, oh, and that's that lactic acid building up. So that is really interesting.
Yeah,
really
and
interesting.
that turmeric is going to be great for them as well, because it is quite tough on the joints as well. So lovely antioxidants in there and anti-inflammatories to help with that as well, just to try and keep them sound.
Yeah, and like overall feeling great.
Absolutely.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, and everybody can find.
Oh, I'm so delighted. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, and I just have to ask, like, what time is it there?
Oh, so it is now 20 to 1 in the morning.
Okay, that's what I thought. You're like, I mean, I could clearly hear your accent, but then I'm like, oh, she's actually in Ireland. Like, it's late there.
Well, we do export to Australia, so and they're 11 hours in the difference, so that's a bit more challenging.
Yeah, that's true.
We do have one question in the chat, guys.
All right, great.
Just from Carol Connor, she was wondering about the possibility of selenium toxicity. Can you speak to that, Ciara?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this comes up quite a lot actually. And I used to work for a feed company before I worked with Plus Vital, and selenium toxicity comes up a lot, because especially when you're maybe feeding a particular feed that is very high in selenium, as well as a supplement as well. And it's a real problem for if a horse actually is at toxic levels. So at Plus Vital, we've looked at all of the different feed companies and the level at which selenium is fed, and indeed other compounds that could potentially be at too high a level for a horse. So I'm pleased to say that we've actually taken all of that into consideration, and the selenium level that we're at is within that recommended daily dosage rate. So we have absolutely thought about that, and the experts here at Plus Vital would absolutely have taken that into consideration. for all our products. Quite a lot of our products actually contain selenium. It's a really good antioxidant for recovery, but nothing to worry about, I'm glad to report, in that regard. Yeah.
And one quick question I also had too was, I would assume it's all FEI legal?
Absolutely, yeah. Gosh, it's been a very challenging year for a lot of companies. There's been all sorts of issues with contamination with various companies, and we're producing products since 1975. Our lab is actually in-house. We do a lot of analysis ourselves. But also everything is sent to third-party laboratory. We have a universal feed assurance scheme, which is our quality assurance. We also have Beta NOPS, which is the British Equestrian Trade Association for natural occurring prohibited substances. So we adhere to the Beta NOPS code of practice to ensure that there are absolutely no issues around a positive test. So 100% safe for FEI, but also for racing in all jurisdictions. We send products to Japan, for example, which is a very, very stringent laboratory there, the JRA for racing. So we're very good at that. We are very confident. We supply some very high profile athletes that compete at FEI level around the world. So yeah, we're good to go, as they say.
That's great, and it's kind of fitting because I'm sitting in Kentucky at the moment, so it's also
I'm very jealous. I'm very jealous.
The racehorse land over here.
Oh yeah, and I actually spent my J1 in university in Kentucky. I spent 6 months there, so I'm very jealous. It's one of my most loved places in the world. So
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it is definitely the horse capital of the world for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
But thank you so much, and everybody can read more about all your products at plusvital.com, and then you guys can use your discount code at equine or enviroequine.com, and it's the Tate TV 15 is the 50% off. So I already know, I think I'm going to order one for Montana and one for Apollo, but I'm going to get two because I'm going to give it enough time to work.
That's it. You were listening.
I was listening, yes. And it's interesting because Montana is a wonderful Grand Prix horse I have. He's extremely huge and has very like big, dense muscles, but he also runs out of stamina. Like he starts like breathing heavy, and then he gets kind of nervous because he's breathing heavy, and then I think he just kind of exhausts himself in the Grand Prix. So I'm definitely going to check that out for him. And then Apollo is my up and coming star, and he's very tight, so I think like the lactic acid idea of the whole thing would be really interesting for him as well. So
fantastic.
Check that out.
Well, you gotta let me know how you get on. I'll be intrigued to know and hear your feedback, but I'll be following on social media anyway, so hopefully we'll get some feedback there.
Yes, great, and I hope one day we can actually meet in person.
Well, I've told Angela it's on my list of things to do as soon as I can next year, as I get on a flight. I'd love to meet you all. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, and good night.
Thank you so much too, and enjoy Kentucky.
Thank you so much.